What to do, what to do. This is the Brothers on Books podcast where we find great books that will give you real value and actionable steps and have fun in the process. Please reach out to us at brothersonbooks@gmail.com for any book recommendations, or if you would like to be a guest host for a particular book you have in mind. A great review or rating on whichever platform you're listening to would be greatly appreciated. And lastly, if you can think of any friend, family member, or coworker that might like this episode, please pass it along. I'm Alex Allwild, and with me, as always, is my brother Jack Allwild. And Jack, how are you doing on this Sunday?
I'm doing great, Ali Bear. It is a beautiful day. I'm in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, and we're chilling like villains. And you are also in a new state.
I am. I'm in Birmingham. For our listeners that don't know, I moved to Birmingham, Alabama on Thursday to start a job, which I'll be starting tomorrow. So
very cool.
Exciting new step in my life.
And what better way to ring in your new job than spend some time with the Brothers on Books?
That's right. So this is our 20th episode. And for our 20th episode, we decided to do sort of a different type of episode. We are going to do a review episode of our 3 favorite books. And then we're each picking 5 books that we're going to read in the future. So I guess to start, Jack, what do you want to give your first favorite of the previous books we've done?
So of the first 19 episodes now, my third book favorite was Viktor Frankl's Man's Search for Meaning. And I think this book can be summed up by the Nietzsche line, "He who has a why to live for can bear almost any how." That is why I like that book. What is your number 3?
So my number 3 was Economics in One Lesson by Henry Hazlitt.
I agree.
I just liked it because he gave a very good breakdown of the economy and economics and how people a lot of times miss looking at hidden costs associated with the economy when they're essentially studying economics.
Cool. Why don't you give your second?
So my second was actually Viktor Frankl's Man's Search for Meaning. Mainly, a lot of personal reasons. I believe that I read that book. I think I talked about it in the episode. I read that book probably a couple of years ago, and it really helped me get through a lot of personal issues I was struggling with going through grad school. So it has a special place in my heart for me.
Nice. Yeah, we've gotten good feedback from that episode, actually. And a lot of people that have read that book after I brought it up to them or they heard us discuss it have really enjoyed it. So that's been a very well-received book. My second ranked book was just 2 episodes ago, The Black Swan by Mr. Taleb. And I like this book just because it made me get out of the math think and try to think more of how people react and what their incentives are, and things aren't as sterile in the real world as one might learn on an exam or quiz. That's kind of what he's talking about when he talks about the ludic fallacy, and ludic is Latin for game. So that's one thing I'll be taking from that. Okay, you want to hit us with your number 1?
Well, I guess it's apparent that we're brothers because my number 1 was The Black Swan by Taleb.
Dang. Okay.
A lot of what you also talked about. It made me really think about how I see the world and maybe sort of open my horizons to different ideas.
Cool.
I guess before you give your 1, my alternates that I had written down were Mapping Out the Millionaire Mystery when we had Chris Noggle on, and then our latest episode, Weightlifting is a Waste with Dr. Jaquish. So what was your top book?
My number 1, and I'll say that I loved all of the episodes where the authors came on. Those are very cool. The book that I spent the most time engulfed in, even after I finished reading, was Into Thin Air. I spent hours on YouTube looking up about hikers hiking Mount Everest and all sorts of other mountains like K2. And then I came across that skier that skied down K2. Just absolutely nuts. I thought that book opened up a lot of my kind of just horizons, I guess, for lack of a better word. I was just, it's a totally different world over there.
Yeah, I thought that was actually one of our better episodes.
Yeah.
That was a very enjoyable book. And
Yeah.
I nearly listed that one on my alternates.
But in terms of, yeah, all the books have been really good. I think there's only a couple I probably would not recommend, I guess, to a friend.
Yeah.
Same. So yeah, it's been great. I hope season 2 is as good as season 1. And I guess I will use this opportunity to say this was my first book that I used to journal in for season 1. And it happened that I like finished up all the pages, like just as we were finishing our last episode. And now I've replaced the Chinese cat for a David Bowie journal. So,
okay.
So yeah,
I still use a random, for some reason, it's a music composition book.
with the lines, like
yeah.
Yeah.
I don't really know why I use this, but I do. I like it. And I'm still going strong in this one.
Cool.
It is like also, I mean, it is like very many pages. So I got a ways to go.
Okay, so
well,
what?
With that said, I mean, I guess it was fun. It was fun sort of going over all of the old episodes. I honestly had forgotten, like the 50th law, I had sort of forgotten about that. And I had a real lot of notes written on it. It was kind of fun to look through it.
Yeah.
But I guess, Jack, do you want to start off with your first pick?
Sure. Actually, before we get to our picks, we have 2 authors that have already committed to being on with us to share their books, and I thought it would be, before we get into the picking those books, and I'll share my screen too. Those books are Never Pay the First Bill by Marshall Allen. That will be released on your birthday, which also happens to be the 21st episode on November 21st. That's a book about the healthcare system in America and what we can do to combat its deficiencies. The other book is It Is Possible by Jason Brown. That will air January 2nd. I met Jason through the authors group at the FinCon in Austin a few weeks ago. So those are the authors we have coming on. My first pick is, it's called The Book of Numbers by Aaron Clary. This is a book that analyzes the ROI on pursuing women. And I think it's specifically about American women.
So it's about essentially your return on investment from getting married. Am I getting that right?
I think it's, well, we'll see. It is about, I guess, should men pursue women, and like that, like what are the chances of, getting a woman? Here, I'll read a small snippet. It only cares about the individual man reading this essay and whether the pursuit of women is personally worth it to him. In that regard, this essay aims to inform the reader about the real mathematical chances of success he faces in the pursuit of women, as well as the modern day risks, so that he may make an informed economic decision as to how he best invests his life. So
that will definitely be an interesting read.
Yeah.
Okay, so my first book is the book called, and I believe you and I have sort of briefly talked about this before. It's called The Rise of America, Remaking the World Order by Marin Katusa. who I believe I've heard speak with Robert Kiyosaki on the Rich Dad podcast, and I also believe on TIP before.
Yep.
But it's just an analysis. The book is an analysis on how most people seem to be writing America off in the upcoming years, and how people seem to think that China is going to overtake us as the world power. And it's his take on why America's future has never been brighter.
Awesome. That was actually in my shopping cart. I was thinking you might pick that. Okay, my next pick, and also, so The Rise of America will release on December 19th for people that want to read along. Okay, my next pick is Wall Street Bets: How Boomers Made the World's Biggest Casino for Millennials. And that is by Jamie Rogozinski. And I believe Jamie is the one that actually started the Reddit or subreddit. I don't even know what you refer to it as, but we'll hopefully get an idea of what Wall Street Bets is and its community, I guess.
Okay.
Okay,
so this one's a little, I would say a little different. It's called On Grand Strategy.
Grand Strategy?
Yeah.
Okay.
John Lewis Gaddis. And this author, he taught at Yale. He's a history professor, but he teaches this. It's my understanding that they have a entrepreneur or like future CEO class where he teaches this book, which goes over a lot of military strategy from ancient times, and just it's related to business strategy for the most part.
Okay, cool. Should I do the third, or should you want to start mixing it up?
You can do the third.
Okay. So my third pick is a book called Bad Karma by Paul Wilson. Here, I'll read the description. In the summer of 1978, 21-year-old Paul Wilson jumps at the chance to join two local icons on a dream surf trip to mainland Mexico, unaware their ultimate destination lies in the heart of drug cartel country. Having no earthly idea of where he'll get the money to pay his share and determined to prove his mettle, he does the only thing he can think of. He robs a supermarket. And if karma didn't already have enough reason to doom the trip, he soon learns one of his companions is a convicted killer on the run, and the other an unscrupulous cad. Mishap and misfortune rule the days, and mere survival takes precedence over surfing. Now, I think I found this book just because it had like 3,000 reviews, which I found like a lot. So
that's a lot of reviews.
It was a good book.
Okay, so for my third book is a book called Seducing Strangers: How to Get People to Buy What You're Selling. It's a little black book of advertising secrets.
Okay.
It's written by Josh Weltman, who wrote for Mad Men, and it's sort of from the cover made it sound like he wrote Don Draper, I guess, and kind of from what I could tell, maybe Don Draper was based off his own life. That I'm not entirely sure of. But I actually saw this, the first time I saw this was when I was waiting to get my thesis printed and bound in a FedEx store, and I thought it looked interesting, and I took a picture, and then I decided I would like to read it.
Cool. Okay, my next pick is The Beginner's Guide to Stoicism by Matthew Venata. Stoicism, I hear thrown around all the time, but I honestly wouldn't know how to describe it. And I kind of just wanted to learn a bit more. The description says, being a Stoic means embracing positivity and self-control through the ability to accept the uncertainty of outcomes. With this guide, the beginner Stoic will learn how to take charge of their emotions on the path to sustained happiness and satisfaction. So that is The Beginner's Guide to Stoicism. And that will air March 13th. Beginner's Guide to Stoicism. Okay, Al, what is your fourth book?
Okay. The fourth book is called The Violinist's Thumb and Other Lost Tales of Love, War, and Genius as written by our genetic code.
The Violinist's Thumb?
Yeah.
Okay.
This book was written by a guy named Sam Keen. He wrote another book called The Disappearing Spoon, which talks about the elements on the periodic table and how they were in many regards discovered. So it's a very, like, I would say, family friendly science book. And I really enjoyed The Disappearing Spoon. And then I saw that he had written this book and I was interested in reading it. And it looks like it's tied to how your genes sort of display in your physical appearance and your, I guess, your personality.
Cool. Okay, this next book, I heard the author speak on the art of manliness, and I found this podcast incredibly insightful. So my next book is Shop Class as Soulcraft, an inquiry into the value of work. This is by Matthew B. Crawford. And when I heard him speak on the art of manliness, he talked about how humans interactions with cars. So he's got, I think, a couple other books, but so I heard him speak on this other book about the history of like driving and kind of like, do we as humans even want robots to replace us in automobiles? But I'm guessing this will be a very good book, and hopefully we can get him on because he was a good listen. So Shop Class is Soulcraft. Wait, what did I just? Shop Class Soulcraft. Okay, so Al, what to clear out this draft?
So my last one was Dynamic Hedging by Taleb again.
Interesting. Okay.
I think I just, became very interested in, I believe this is the first book he wrote on sort of how he trades options. So
Cool.
I'm pretty interested to see how he goes about it.
Cool. So we have some pretty good stuff here. Wide range of topics. Again,
it definitely seems like a wide range, which is good.
Yep. Keeps it interesting. So I don't know. You got anything else? Any thoughts on my picks? And then I'll give my thoughts on your picks, maybe.
I'm definitely interested to read this the Book of Numbers, the RI and woman being. I mean, it could be interesting. That would be an interesting take. Is that I'm single and you're married, so we could come at it from a totally different perspectives.
Yeah, I'm hoping I get some like confirmation that maybe pursuing a European woman was maybe my best route.
Didn't you have another European friend say that to you? Something along those lines.
I don't know. Yeah, maybe.
The Wall Street Bets book I think will be interesting. Stoicism. I listen to a lot of just Stoic quotes on YouTube a lot. So,
really?
Yeah, just sometimes. I mean, for motivation. I did it a lot in grad school. Would help me get through the day.
Okay. Dang.
Yeah, like Epictetus, I think is the big one. He like really started it. Yeah, I think those. I mean, I'm interested in all of them, but I think those would be the three that I'd be really interested in seeing how they go.
Your Rise of America book definitely was on my radar. The other ones are pretty. I mean, and dynamic hedging we heard through.
Yeah, Jacob One Fisker.
Jacob One Fisker told us about it, so that's kind of cool. So that'll be good. Yeah, seems like some good books. And I think maybe we'll post this schedule on the Facebook group, and I don't know if people want to like form little book clubs on the side or get reading buddies. Maybe we can facilitate that.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea.
So, well, with that, you wanna send us out?
Right. Yeah. Okay. So I think that about wraps up this episode. So please reach out to us at brothersonbooks@gmail.com for any book recommendations, or if you would like to be a guest host for a particular book you have in mind. A great review or rating on whichever platform you're listening to would be greatly appreciated. And lastly, if you can think of any friend, family member, or coworker that might like this episode, please pass it along. Yet again, I'm Alex Allweil. With me, as always, is my brother Jack Allweil. And I think it's been a great episode, and definitely excited to do some reading in the future. Do you have anything else left to say, Jack?
Just excited for our next episode. Never Pay the First Bill. Marshall Allen, we'll have him on. It should be a great episode about healthcare in America.
All right, sounds great. Guess with that said, I'll see you next time.
Yep. Take care easy.